Hi everyone, welcome back to just another Dying How To channel. So this would be part 3 of my Git primer series. On this tutorial we're gonna learn how to skip the staging area when you're committing files, and how to remove or move files, and how to view the history, and also how to undo things in Git. So just to recap on part 2 of the episode, we talked about how to add files to be tracked, stage, modify, and commit. If you haven't watched that, you could check the description below. So if I go to git status on the command line, you will see I have a clean working tree. So I'm gonna try to edit the index.html file. And I go to git status. You would see that the file has been modified. So normally what you do is you go to git add, and then it would go to being staged, and then you could commit the file. So if the file is already being tracked and it has been modified, you could straight away go to git commit -a -m, which is the message that for committing, and then say updated index file. So as you can see there, I didn't have to stage the file even though the file was waiting to be staged. So that's one way to skip the staging area, but you need to be careful that you actually want to commit the changes that are on your staging area. So this is one way that you could get a little bit messy if you don't know what you want to commit. Actually, if you just say -a, it's going to commit everything on the waiting to be stage area. Cool. So next, let's talk about removing files. So if I want to remove, for example, index.py here on my repo, if I go to git remove and say index.py, it says did not match any. Yep, sorry about that. So that's because we were ignoring the file on our git ignore file. So we want to remove that from, so I'm gonna remove my ignore here. And if I go to git status, you would see I have now index.php and index.py untracked and waiting to be staged. I also have the git ignore that I modified. So one way to add all of this is to say git add period. If I go to git status, this would put all those files to be staged and ready to be committed. So I'm gonna say git commit, add a message, updated git ignore. Cool. So let me clear that. So now say I want to remove index.py from my repo. So if I go git remove and then name of the file index.py, if I go to git status, you would see that the file has been deleted, and I need to commit this delete to be able to save the changes. You would also see that the file actually got deleted on my local copy here. So this is one way to remove a file. Let's commit this change. Git commit remove index.py. Git status, so everything's clear. So the other way is, if I want to keep my index.php file, just remove it from being tracked and not necessarily delete the file. What you need to do actually is to say git remove --cached, and then name of the file you want to untrack. So if I go that way and go git status, you would see that the file has now been untracked. It hasn't been deleted from my directory here, but it's not being tracked anymore. And then I could go back to my git ignore file and add syntax to start ignoring PHP. And if I go to git status, you would see that the git ignore file has been modified and the index PHP is ready to be committed. So if I go git add again, I could do the shortcut git -i -m updated files. I think I said git add, not git commit. Sorry about that. So cool. So git status, everything's clean. So that's how you remove files. So what if you want to move a file? So there could be 3 steps to this, or there could just be 1 step. The easiest is to just say git mv, and let's target the readme file this time and change it to readme file 1. If I go to git status, you would see that it has been renamed. So Git is smart enough to recognize that it has been renamed, and you just need to commit those changes. So I say git commit a changed readme. That's it. So that's how you move a file. So the interesting bit is viewing the history. So if I go git log, this would show me all the commit history that I've done. So it's on chronological order. It would list down the author, the date, and the message that you added. So there are other tags that you could use along with this to properly limit. So if you could say git log -2, it will only show you your last 2 commits. If you want more details of those last 2 commits, you could say git log -p -2. So -p is patch, and if I do that, it would show you more details of what has happened. So this time we're saying the file has been renamed. This one we added the git ignore tag here. And if you want to escape this, just press Q on your keyboard and that should clear it up. So the other kind of interesting things that you could do with git log is you can say git log stat, and this would show you a summary instead of just git log, which shows you the rest, which doesn't show you this info. And you could also say git log this one's --pretty, and then you say 1 line, and you can see that there's a summary, more compact, easier to read, and you could clear that out. And then you could also say instead of just 1 line, you should say graph. So if you say this, you would see this asterisk here. This would be useful later when we're doing branching and merging. So let's get back to that next time. And then the other tag that you could use is the format. So format is pretty special as well. So you could say format and then quotes and $. So H would be the hash. That capital H, it will be the hash long one. Small h would be the shortened version of the hash. And then say AN, which is author's name. And say AE, which is author's email. And AR, author's date related to today, and then say S. So let's see what that looks like. As you can see, this is the hash, this is the name, this is the email, so this is the relative date, so 3 minutes ago, and S is the message that you did for the commit. So that's pretty cool. And then you could also search actually for messages. So for example, readme file here, right? So if I go clear that, I want to search for the readme, any messages that contains readme. So git log, I could use grep, and I could say readme, and it would show me these 2 commits. So this commit and this commit has the message readme on them. So that's an easy way to search your commits. And another way is also git log, and you could say author, and you could say Paulo. Since I'm the only author here, I'll show up to everything on there. So if you're working with other groups, you could search what are their commits, what are yours. And another more clever one is the S command, or the git pickaxe. Actually, git log -s, and I say this could be any code inside your repository. So if I say PHP here, it would show me the files that got modified involving PHP. So this updated files, this actually, because we touched the git ignore, that PHP tag is found on that ignore. So this one. Cool. So those are some of the commands for logging history. I'll list the link on the description below for the other resource on the documentation for the other commands if you want to play around with them. Now let's talk about undoing things in Git. So for example, I did this and I say we are here, and I say git status. You would see that the file is not staged and waiting to be modified. If I want to discard this change, I don't want that change anymore, you could use this command. So if you say git restore index.html, you would see that reset that particular change that I did. If I go to git status here, changes are nothing to commit. So let's try it again. I'm gonna edit my index file. I'm back. I'm gonna go git status, and this time I'm gonna stage this. So git add index HTML and do a git status. You would see it's modified, waiting to be committed. So if I wanna unstage this from and put it to be just modified, you actually use this command, git restore, and then the name of the file, and git status, and it says I have changes waiting to be committed. And if you don't want those changes, you just say git restore index.html and go to git status, nothing to commit, and the code change that I did has been removed. Cool. So basically that's this tutorial. Let's keep it short. Stay tuned for the rest of the tutorial. So we're going to talk next about remoting and branching. So please subscribe to my YouTube channel if you found this useful. Thumbs up. Cheers. Bye for now.